The Fallout 3 remaster is happening. Everyone knows about it at this point, but we can pretend that only we know about it so we can all be in the cool kids club. But in any case, the real question at this point is not will it happen, but can we even remotely trust incompetent, completely stale, garbage dumpster fire Bethesda and the clueless, absolutely talentless developers and Todd goddamn Howard to actually not completely mess this thing up? Can we actually trust it? Or is this just going to be another situation of an Oblivion Remaster and Bethesda does not fix a single bug in a year after its release, so people forget about it because it's just one more disgusting stain on Todd Howard's completely crumbling reputation that no one even cares about anymore because he's such a loser? Because the old Bethesda stuff was actually good and the modern thing is just, well, it's absolute slop. I hate it. Everyone hates it. Okay, got a little bit catty debate there. It doesn't really matter. But you know what it is, boys. If you're a Bethesda fan, then, well, you know that you cannot trust these people on anything anymore. Look at the state that Fallout 76 is in. Every single update, it gets ruined. Over and over again. Look at what they did to Fallout 4. The new generation update, Todd said. Yes, that ended up well. To the point that it's unplayable for normal people without downloading 15 mods to fix it. And then still every second month Bethesda fixes a bug and breaks all of it again. Yeah, I'm sure that's great. And what are the chances that this is not going to be Fallout 3 Remastered's future? What will Todd do? What will Bethesda do? Imagine how many bad things there are in this game. Moira. Remember Moira? Yeah, think about that. Can't treat a woman that badly, okay? A woman cannot be annoying, ever, obviously. So, maybe let's just delete her quest line because... Well, why? It's just wrong that you think she's annoying. And how about all of that? Imagine how much modern Bethesda, given the opportunity, would destroy about Fallout 3. And Fallout 3 is already not a great Fallout, in my opinion. Sure, it's better than 76. And technically, it's the third best Fallout. You know, New Vegas, Fallout 4, and then it's Fallout 3. But still, there's so much Bethesda can ruin about it. It's insanity. So, I mean, are you scared? Because I kind of a little bit am.
Today, because we have another leak for Fallout 3 Remaster, and this leak, I'll tell you what, goes a lot deeper than you'd expect, because this is why I love the internet. You just learn about these communities that you didn't really know much about or that they even existed. I went through this when the new Lego Batman game was revealed, and I started to learn about Lego YouTubers and how they do like tier lists on minifigs, and I'm like, this is so fascinating. Like, this is such a deep cut. And now I'm learning the same exists for like toy YouTubers and toy news outlets. So today's rumor spawns from Toy News International, where we have yet another confirmation of gaming's worst kept secret in Fallout 3 Remaster, but also building upon that is a potential release window of this year, this summer to be exact. Is that true? We're gonna dive right into that. But also we have,
oh boy,
another Fallout rumor popping up through Jeff Gerstmann, who was talking about another Fallout project being worked on by a team under Xbox that has now been shelved. How? Why? Okay, we'll get into it, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're new here, you're into what's going on with Fallout, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. So let's begin at the core of this conversation with McFarlane Toys. Now,
wow, this doesn't even look that bad. You'd think if this has anything to do with the Bethesda, this would be garbage, but pretty cool, pretty good detail. Wow. I'm actually impressed. This cannot be a Bethesda thing. This has to be fan-made.
Responsible for the homies right here, okay? Meanwhile, U2's is responsible for the Murray. This website posts new McFarlane toy product listings. And in here, you'll see everything from the DC multiverse to NHL players getting their own figures. But in the middle here are a bunch of video games from Helldivers 2 to Wolverine, but right there you see highlighted is Fallout 3 Remastered, the T45B Nuka-Cola Power Armor variant, which on a little bit of an extra...
Oh, God, no. I don't want any of these No, this is one of the things that I hate. This is one of the things I fear. That Bethesda's gonna go into this capitalism bad shit. They already did that with a TV show. If you did not know, by the way, all of the lore surrounding Fallout is that the world got destroyed because capitalism. Yes, because that somehow makes money or fucking some shit. I don't even know at this point, but that's the whole point of the Fallout TV series, which is canon, by the way, that the capitalism bad. And this is going to be one of those stupid things that Bethesda is going to do. I fear this so much will happen. That they're going to be like, Nuka-Cola is sponsoring Bomber Armor now. Oh, no, no. No, I hate this idea so much. Yeah, sure, there's rampant capitalism and companies and things like that running in the Fallout universe, but that doesn't mean that they get to sponsor VOD and stuff. Oh, man, that's so stupid.
Wrinkle here for Fallout 3 Remaster. I guess we know this is going to be one of the big new reveals for Fallout 3 Remaster is different power armor paints, because we don't have...
God, I hate this as a concept. It just makes the whole game into a fucking joke.
Power armor in Fallout 3 as it stands now that has Nuka-Cola decorations on it. You could find that in Fallout 4, of course. That was in Nuka World, and that was awesome, but you didn't find that here.
It does make sense that it's like a museum piece or whatever, and because of the dystopian world that you are in, they actually made a real armor and sent it to them. That's a good concept, actually, because that just highlights how dystopian the world is. Because someone who makes Nuka-Cola, something that has radiation in it by default, wanted a Nuka-Cola power armor, and they actually got given a real suit of fucking power armor. That is a great level of dystopianism. Okay, that is great, because that's really good. Honestly, that is cool. I love it. But no, not the fact that it's like legit that some people in the war had fucking Nuka-Cola power armor. That's stupid.
In Fallout 3. So it starts there. Okay, this is about as legit as you can get as a Nate the Hate, as a Jez Corden report, or hey, how about Bethesda themselves? The report here really isn't about it exists. We already felt pretty confident about that, and even if we didn't, Todd Howard already heavily suggested when speaking to Kinda Funny Games that we were going to get more remasters. So we know all of this is on the way. Where it gets a little bit more interesting and really had the community talking and speculating was thanks to Bro Depot. So Bro Depot has the same information available on their website. They sell a bunch of toys, but you'll see here in the middle that they have a release date of August 31st, 2026. When you look at the rest of the description here, it's relatively generic stuff. There's no real item description here. So it's very possible that Bro Depot saw what was going on with McFarlane Toys and Toy News International and did what we've seen in many of Bethesda
a Boa Hancock figurine. Why, yes, please.
Before, and just scrape that information and put up a listing on their website. I did some research.
Does it come with a jar? You know.
On Bro Depot and found out that this toy listing has now been taken down. I've also looked into customer accounts, just anecdotes online. How are people feeling about this company? Kind of mixed. A lot of people can't track their actual legitimate location, which I usually think is an indication that they may not be in the know. They're located in Hong Kong. But otherwise, there are people who have bought from them and have had no issues, and there are people who have bought from them and had issues, particularly with returns. And interestingly, this date isn't really at the end or beginning of a quarter. It's smack dab in the middle of Q3. So it doesn't look like, at least at face value, this is a date that was selected purely out of that's when the financial quarter would end for someone. Although any date that has 31st in it does read as a placeholder to me. But what I did as a next step here was dove deep into the world of McFarlane Toys beyond just as someone who just saw them online and went I want that in my office, and bought them. Again, sorry ladies. But yeah, besides that, I didn't track them deeply on pre-order.
How long until the divorce do you think?
date announcements when they released. Like, there are hardcore toy bros and sisters out there that like know that stuff like we know our game rumors. So I went to McFarlane Toys on Twitter and saw for the NCR Ranger figure, the one that is right here. This went up for pre-order on July 23rd at select retailers here. And then
doesn't look that bad.
IGN had some follow-up information here on some of the release dates. The T60 Power Armor, this bad boy right here, was coming out on October 24th, so one day after the Great War, and this was based around Fallout 76, whereas the New Vegas NCR Ranger outfit, that was for January 30th of this year. So what you're seeing here is a level of synchronization between the toys and key events in the Fallout world or community. Fallout Day was October 23rd. Bethesda sure did show off a lot of merch you could buy. So yeah, add to the list also a McFarlane toy in that this power armor right here. But also that while Season 2 was airing, we were getting all that New Vegas goodness, and Bethesda decided to sell a 15th anniversary collector's edition for New Vegas with nothing but toys in it, that they did another toy line, and that was for the NCR Ranger for the Elite line as well.
I have not heard this, but I imagine something like this is happening, obviously. Toy sales are a big deal for a lot of shows.
So what I'm getting at here is that these toys do synchronize a bit with things happening in the Fallout universe. So people aren't crazy for seeing that August 31st release date and thinking to themselves, hey, this actually might mean something. Like, this seems about as concrete as you can get. So let's carry this a layer deeper now, because this is where it gets really interesting to me and why I'm a little bit skeptical about this whole date, but also why I could buy into a quick turnaround time given how Bethesda has handled Oblivion, because that's really where it's all centralized. Right now, we don't officially know who the developer of Fallout 3 Remaster is. It's a safe assumption to believe it's Virtuos because the game in Oblivion Remaster sold really well, and they did a good enough job to get that many sales and that.
Now, the thing about... Okay, so this is a double-edged blade, honestly, at this point, thinking that Virtuos is doing the remaster again. Because, one, we knew from the release of the Oblivion remake that Virtuos has, well, you know, a lot of stuff happening and whatnot. You know, it's not like they are just... it's not like they're... it's not like they're struggling for work, okay? Their schedule is actually pretty fucking full. Two, when big things like this happen, when a remaster that probably no one expected to succeed because Todd Howard's an idiot, obviously any old Bethesda game is gonna be eaten up like hotcakes. Redo Morrowind, see what happens. I dare you, I double dare you. People... If just upgrade the skills a little bit and make everything a skill tree like in Skyrim, Morrowind's gonna be the next fucking big thing. And Todd Howard fears that. Now, previously he just thought it's gonna be a failure. That's why they stealth dropped the Oblivion remake, which was not an actual stealth drop, it was a marketing campaign. Because we knew too much information about this, okay? It was drip-fed very good. So, props to Bethesda's marketing team. Probably the only people who should deserve a salary at this point, Todd. Filth. Anyway. He probably doesn't want any of this to succeed, and I forgot what was my original point with this. I probably already yapped it, but it is what it is. Oh, I remembered. Good. Smart. Sclerosis, or whatever the brain thing is called. It's not gotten me yet, boys. Listen, believe. In any case, when something like this unexpectedly good happens, big studios are gonna think about doing it themselves. The reason why big studios acquire other studios and things like that after a successful remake of something, an upgrade, this and that, is because it's less costly. And it increases their own inner money flow. So, Bethesda, after the success of this, they're probably thinking, hey, we should maybe do this for ourselves. And that's most likely what they are thinking. So there is a chance that Bethesda does the remake themselves. And everyone knows, if they do the remake themselves, my god, is it going to be a shit show.
Much hype by Bethesda, where I would imagine repeating this partnership for more Bethesda-style remasters would make the most sense. Given that is the assumption that Virtuos would make this next remaster, you got to give them some time to cook and like get this game out the door, especially if it's going to be a remaster on the level of what we saw with Oblivion, where like you're overhauling some mechanics in the game and you're redoing like all the armor and the weapons and the lighting and that sort of.
Yes, a lot of armors were redoed so they can be censored. Yes. Unbelievable amount of armors got wokified.
Stuff to bring it to a new visual level. So if this is the same developer and these two projects are tied together like this, then going back to this FTC leak from Bethesda is actually a great place to start talking about the release window for a Fallout 3 remaster. So when you start looking at the fiscal years for when everything was set to come out on this list, it's been rock solid, but all these dates have been delayed by 2 years. So for example, Starfield was in 2021. We know that came out in 2023. Same with Redfall, and the list goes on here. Starfield's DLC did make it out in 2024. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle did make it out in 2024. But interestingly, Oblivion Remaster was set for 2024, but as we know, it got a slight delay into the top half of 2025. Going down to the bottom of the calendar here, you'll see Fallout 3 Remaster is fiscal year 24. You add 2 years to that, 26. And that was the original plan, right? To come out in 2026. So people aren't crazy for that. But if these two teams are linked together.
What a useless thing. Well, first of all of this has been wrong. Second of all, no, the 2-year thing doesn't work because there's a lot of things that don't work with the 2-year additive. So it's just not right at all.
Together, I'd have to imagine the whole timeline got bumped. So if Oblivion Remaster gets bumped, I do think Fallout 3 Remaster gets bumped into like at least earliest top of 2027. That is unless you want to run with the theory that, hey, they abandoned Oblivion Remaster like that. And I mean, they also not only abandoned the support for the game, but also the potential idea of like, hey, can you imagine if Bethesda does what it seems like CD Projekt Red's doing right now for The Witcher 3, where they make like a new expansion that sort of sets up the next chapter in this franchise? Like, can you imagine?
By the way, they're gonna have to do it. Microsoft is gonna force Bethesda to do it. Because, I mean, Bethesda is a part of Microsoft. Guess who else is a part of Microsoft? Blizzard. That's right. Diablo 2 Remastered got the Varla class, if you are not aware, but I'm assuming most of my viewers know about Diablo 2 and how absolutely peak that game is. I'm still playing it, by the way. It's great. And the Varla class got added. $25 single class. Now, is that over expensive? Yes. But that shit blew out all of Diablo 4. That thing had such good sales for so little development cost that there is no way that Microsoft is not looking at that and being like, well, Diablo 2 Resurrection Varla class sold like hotcakes, made a bunch of money, was almost fucking free, honestly, and probably bumped up at least a little bit of expectancy for the failure that is Diablo 4. Yeah, Bethesda's gonna have to do the same, because look at how many people bought the Oblivion remake, and now they're not gonna make an expansion for it? Why not? Todd Howard would never allow this, but thankfully Todd Howard is no longer in charge of Bethesda, fucking clown. Yes, my hate for Todd Howard is immeasurable, by the way, if you're wondering and you're new here. You're probably not. So yeah, I think Bethesda is gonna be forced to make an expansion at some point for Oblivion, maybe Fallout 3, maybe New Vegas even. A lot of things. Because Microsoft is absolutely not happy with Bethesda's performance. They fucking paid $8 billion to acquire Starfield. I would not be in this world if that was my decision at this point. I feel no shame for anything, but even I wouldn't be able to live with the with the shame of doing something as stupid as that. So, you know, they're gonna do something. And since Microsoft is currently gaining a lot from these expansions, these things for old games, and it's working, and other companies are even doing it outside of Microsoft, yeah, it seems like it's very likely to me that Bethesda will be forced to do like Oblivion new expansion or something like that.
Imagine that. That'd be really cool. But if you sprint from one project to the next, can you accelerate the release of a Fallout 3 remaster, given we saw what happened during Season 2? I mean, people were freaking out over an Amazon teaser website that was so obviously not connected to the video games, but people who just want to, you know, impression farm on Twitter decided to.
Didn't Mr. Matty also make a video about that? I said it's bullshit. I said this is probably nothing because, well, it's Bethesda.
To ignore that fact and riled up an entire community and then set everyone up for disappointment, and then you know the rest of the story. So people are growing impatient, and that's why with these Fallout 3 remaster leaks, it's a little bit frustrating because there was a time Bethesda was on their toes a little bit more, like when Rage 2 leaked, remember that? And it was through Walmart Canada, and people were like, wait, they're doing a Rage 2? Like, it was a crazy announcement, and Bethesda, because they were hit by a leak, responded and changed their plans. They made a joke post on Twitter, putting spray paint and anarchy symbols all over Walmart Canada, and effectively confirmed the existence of that game before their E3 showcase. And I thought that was smart because it kind of didn't take the wind out of the sails of that announcement. It was like, okay, we knew it was coming thanks to Walmart Canada. Bethesda chose not to sit on their hands, but do something about it. And I think the game overall benefited in the attention it got from it because of that. Whereas Bethesda nowadays gets hit with a leak 4 or 5 separate times on the same project. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to hold our plans. Nothing's changing, at least from the consumer point of view. It feels like they have not reacted to this at all. And it's happened from both unofficial and official sides. Like, I get
you can drink from the small amount of water that's leaking when you go into...
Nothing's changing, at least from the
See that? You can drink from that.
Consumer point of view. It feels like they have not reacted to this at all. And it's happened from both unofficial and official sides. Like, I get it.
Or could you not? And that's just me gaslighting myself.
FTC, tragic. Jez Corden report. Okay, maybe you don't want to say something about that. Nate the Hate, same thing. Now you got McFarlane toys, dude. Like, what's it going to be? What's it going to take? Anyway, the toys do synchronize with big moments in the Fallout universe, and the only kind of credibility I can lend to Bethesda being able to get a Fallout 3 remaster out by sometime around August of this year is the quick abandonment of Oblivion Remaster. And I imagine Fallout 3 Remaster was already in development by the time Oblivion Remaster was shipping, but just keeping in mind that they would have to switch the whole team over to that project and obviously get everything ironed out for that for release. That's a pretty quick turnaround time. I would imagine, though, Bethesda wants this still to be a 2027 game simply because the Enclave is heavily involved in where the TV show is going, and Fallout 3...
Yeah, because the Enclave, because it needs to be a genetic, shitty, fucking good guys versus bad guys type of thing.
Guessed it, has a lot of Enclave presence, so these projects kind of mesh together a little bit, whereas I remember when...
Didn't know if the Enclave died? Well, obviously no.
Season 2 was ongoing, people were like, Bethesda has to drop a Fallout 3 and New Vegas remaster now. If not, at that point, then when? And then we see what happens at the end of Season 2 and how it sets up Season 3, and we're like, okay, things aren't as much on a timer as we thought they were, and we have some more time for New Vegas stuff. We have some time for Enclave stuff where these remasters may end up timing out better. So TLDR is, I'm not buying into the August release window too hard because it does come from a less verifiable source. If it was coming directly from McFarlane Toys, I'd be more like, lock it in. This feels like there's something to bite onto here, but given it's Bro Depot, this does remind me of like an old school Bethesda leak where we have an official source, we have something, and then you got to go down the rabbit hole to kind of disprove that part of the equation, because I think ultimately with how well Oblivion Remaster did, Bethesda will want to take the time to kind of focus on Fallout 3, especially because I expect Fallout 3 to...
Let's check what was the cancel
Anyway, that's what's going
thing.
on with the Fallout 3 remaster. Then there was this other Fallout rumor that really pushed this video over the edge. The original plan was to kind of dive into just kind of the toy part of things with a Maddie Slot video, but then we got the extra release window layer, and then this on top of it. I was like, there's so much more to get into here. Like, we got to go into it on a deeper level here. So Idle Sloth posted this clip here of Jeff Gerstmann, who has obviously been working in gaming since the 90s and is a well-connected individual, who said the following. Take a listen for yourself.
There was a Fallout thing in development at another Microsoft-owned studio that I think is no longer going to see the light of day. But like...
This, by the way, does go in the line with my predictions. I said this, that there is no... If Bethesda was only doing the Elder Scrolls 6, Then since Microsoft bought Bethesda, they have definitely been making a Fallout game at the same time. Maybe not full throttle, but at least making it. Because Bethesda's release cadence is fucking abysmal. So Microsoft definitely does not like that.
Yeah, this is, yeah. I don't. They will probably not do the remakes. I think those have been outsourced to other. Like the Fallout 3 thing, I think has been outsourced to an external studio. But
I mean, I can also predictably say that or not. It depends. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays 10 out of 10. Bye!